an adventurous teenager sails out on a daring mission to save her people. During her journey, Moana meets the once mighty demigod Maui, who guides her in her quest to become a master wayfinder. Welcome to Animation Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the 2016 animation thriller film called Moana. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The film opens with the Grandma Tala, the dramatic storyteller, explaining the story of the mother island Te Fiti. With her heart, Te Fiti possesses the power to create life and brings other islands into existence. However, other beings desired the power of her heart, but only one was daring enough to take it. The demigod Maui, using his magical fish hook to shape-shift into various creatures, travels to the mother island and steals Te Fiti's heart, a small, green gemstone engraved with a spiral. Without her heart, Te Fiti's island begins to deteriorate and sends forth a terrible darkness. Maui escapes on his boat but is confronted by Te Ka, a demon of lava and fire which rose from the sea like a volcano. Maui boldly engaged Te Ka in battle but was struck from the sky. The green gemstone and his fish hook was lost in the sea, and Maui was not seen again. Grandma Tala finishes her story saying that the only hope for humanity lies in the hands of a fearless hero who must journey to find Maui and have him return the heart to its rightful place. While the other children are terrified by the story, Moana is captivated. At that moment, the little girl's father enters and tells the children that there is no darkness or monsters and they are safe on their island as long as they stay within the reef. However, he accidentally hits a post that reveals multiple cloth paintings of monsters, sending the children into a panic. In the chaos, the little girl, Moana, slips away and goes down to the water. She sees a seashell wash up on shore and goes to collect it when she notices a baby sea turtle being menaced by a group of frigate birds. Leaving the shell, Moana shields the turtle with a large leaf and guides it to the water's edge. Once it's safe, a rippling effect washes over the surface of the ocean and the water recedes, revealing a trail of beautiful seashells which Moana gathers in her tiny arms. Within the canyon of water and surrounded by sea life and coral, a wave forms over Moana's head and looks curiously down at her. It plays with her, splashing her and tying her hair in a top knot. Then, in the water, Moana sees a shiny object drifting toward her. She plucks the glowing green stone from the water and trails her finger over the spiral design. Just then, her father calls for her and the ocean returns her to shore on a piece of driftwood, but Moana drops the stone. Before she can find it, Chief Tui picks her up and takes her back to the village along with her mother, Sina. She tells Moana that she'll do wondrous things as the future chief. Growing up, Moana learns everything she needs to know about life on her island, but she finds herself continuously drawn to the ocean. Every time she goes near it, her parents bring her back and remind her that her duties and her people are where she belongs, not the sea. Her grandmother, Tala, however, encourages Moana to follow her heart and listen to the voice inside, for that is who she truly is. One day, Tui takes Moana to a sacred place on the island, a high mountain, where chiefs from every generation place a stone to signify the start of their leadership. This inspires Moana to finally accept her role as soon-to-be chief of the village. She thusly spends her time learning under her parents on how to assist her people across the island. One day, bad news begins coming in from the people of Motunui. The island's supply of food begins to die out. The harvested coconuts are black and rotten on the inside. Moana chooses a new location to plant a grove, but then a group of fishermen show the chief that their haul of fish has brought in nothing, despite changing their fishing rounds. Moana believes that traveling beyond the reef to find food elsewhere is the best solution. Her father gets incredibly mad at her, screaming at her that he thought she was through with this. Moana is seated alone and seems furious. Moana's mother, Sina, explains to her that her father is just protective of her. When he was a young man, he and his best friend also sailed far out, and the waters were raging so hard that his friend drowned. They stay on the island for their protection. Moana ultimately decides to finally take canoe out to see if she can find any fish beyond the reef and takes her pet pig Pua with her. At first it seems she can sail with ease, but a wave knocks her canoe sideways and sends Pua overboard. Distracted, Moana fails to see another wave rise above her and flip her canoe over. Moana is submerged and gets her foot trapped within some coral but manages to free herself by smashing it with a rock. She makes it to shore, exhausted, and finds Pua scared, but alive. Grandma Tala then walks up joking that whatever transpired should be blamed on the pig. Moana tries to hide her bruised ankle, but Tala isn't fooled and takes a look. However, she promises not to tell Moana's father. Moana says that Tui was right about going out there. She tells Tala that she's going to put her stone on the pile. Tala doesn't argue and goes to the water to dance with a school of manta rays, saying that when she dies she'll come back as one, or else she chose the wrong tattoo. Curious as to why her grandmother isn't contradicting her, Moana asks if there's something she wants to tell her. Tala takes Moana to a hold-up cavern where, after removing some rocks, Moana finds a passageway. Tala says that Moana has heard all their people's stories but one. She tells her to follow the tunnel and bang the drum to find the answer to the question that's bothered her all her life. Moana follows Tala's instructions and finds a small fleet of boats and canoes hidden in the cavern behind a massive waterfall. She bangs the drum on the largest ship and sees a vision of her ancestors within the tapa sail. It reveals that they were voyagers who sailed the ocean finding new islands to inhabit. Thrilled, Moana asks Tala why they stopped voyaging. Tala explains that when Maui stole the heart of Te Fiti and unleashed the darkness it made sailing too treacherous, boats stopped coming back. To save themselves, Moana's ancestors hid away their boats and decided to remain on Motunui. Tala then shows Moana a portion of their island which appears to have the very life from it being drained to sea. She then tells Moana that her stories were true, that someone will one day restore the heart and save everyone. Then, she presses a green stone into Moana's hand that she'd kept within her necklace, saying that she was there the day the ocean chose Moana to be the one to restore the heart. The ocean then rises up and playfully splashes Moana, who was stunned to find out that the memory wasn't just a dream as she thought. Tala shows Moana a constellation of an enormous hook, saying that Maui will be beneath it. Moana laments that she doesn't know how to sail but realizes she knows who does. She runs to the master hut where Tui is addressing the council, trying to assure them they won't run out of food. When Moana interrupts and begs help to restore the heart, Tui leaves in anger and says he should have burned the boats in the cavern ages ago. He takes the stone from Moana's hand, saying it's merely a rock, and throws it into the bushes. When Moana retrieves it, she finds Tala's walking stick on the grass. Just then, a warrior calls to the chief. Moana and her parents rush to the medics, where Tala lies on her deathbed. Alerted that her grandma has fallen ill, she goes to her bedside. She tells Moana the only way to save the village is to find the trickster Maui and return him to Te Fiti to restore the heart. Moana cries and tells her grandma she doesn't want to leave her, but grandma explains that she will always be with her. She gives her a necklace to keep the heart in. Moana is leaving, and her mother catches her going, but hugs her and lets her go. As Moana leaves, her grandmother's light fades out. Moana takes the small canoe with a spiral painted on the sail. Once on the water, Moana looks back and sees her grandmother's spirit in the form of a manta ray flying toward her. It illuminates safe passage for her and Moana makes it to the sea. She struggles to sail properly, following the hook constellation, and even discovers Hi-Hi, a dumb rooster who has accidentally stowed away on the sailboat. One night, Moana's canoe capsizes just before a storm hits it, and Moana is washed up on a rocky island. She wakes up the next morning, angry that the ocean didn't help her when she asked. Moana is still relieved that she didn't lose the heart of Te Fiti. Then, she notices hook-shaped marks dotting the rocks on the island and realizes that the ocean has delivered her to Maui. She ducks behind her canoe as Maui approaches, preparing herself, but Maui easily lifts the canoe with one hand, excited to see a boat. Moana confronts him, but Maui interrupts and begins boasting about all his exploits, explaining he brought fire, built the sky, and lassoed the sun for humans and they should be thanking him, using his mini Maui tattoo to show off his accomplishments. Maui tricks Moana and traps her in the cave he lived in while he plans to commandeer her canoe, despite protests from mini Maui. Moana escapes the cave and jumps into the ocean as Maui sails away. Moana tries to catch up and is assisted by the ocean, which deposits her quickly onto her canoe. Despite repeatedly throwing her overboard, Moana is returned to the boat by the ocean and she shows him the heart and orders him to return the heart. Maui tries to throw the heart away, but the ocean throws it back at him. Then he tries to swim away, but the ocean puts him back. He claims that the stone is not a heart but rather a curse that lost him his hook and that bad things are always trying to find it. At that moment, a spear lands on the boat, just missing Hi-Hi. Behind them, a massive object moves out of the fog. Maui recognizes the small coconut creatures and their large ship as Kakamora, tiny, mischievous pirates. Moana begs the ocean to help them, but Maui tells her that the ocean doesn't help, they help themselves. He is shocked to find out Moana can't sail and does all he can to evade the Kakamora, but they latch onto Moana's canoe with their spears and board the craft. They knock Moana down and the heart falls out of her necklace. Hi-Hi gobbles it up, but the Kakamora steal him. Maui tries to escape, but Moana takes the oar and goes after Hi-Hi. She manages to retrieve him in a flurry of paralyzing blow darts and zip lines herself back to her canoe. She and Maui just barely escape as the Kakamora's boats collide into each other. Though Maui commends her on surviving, he still refuses to help return the heart. Moana persuades him to comply when she claims such an act will help Maui regain a positive reputation amongst mortals. Maui agrees to help, but not without his fishhook. She agrees to help him retrieve his hook before setting a course for Te Fiti and then asks him to teach her to sail. At first Maui refuses, but the ocean uses one of the Kakamura's blow darts to numb the demigod, leaving him unable to sail, forcing him to tell Moana what to do. He shows her how to wayfind using celestial navigation. They make their way to a tall, rocky spire in the middle of the ocean. As they climb a mountain to reach the entrance to the underworld, Maui questions why the ocean chose Moana to save the world, though she doesn't seem to know herself. Despite her sudden feeling of self-doubt, Maui opens the entrance. They drop down into the monster-filled world. She evades several monsters, one of which tried to eat her, until eventually finding Tamatoa's lair, and the fishhook adhered to Tamatoa's shell. Using her as bait, Maui sends Moana into the lair where Tamatoa captures her. While Maui sneaks up from behind, Moana distracts Tamatoa by inciting him to brag about himself. Maui then takes his hook and attempts to shapeshift, but it's been so long that he can't control his powers. Tamatoa places Moana in a cage and focuses on Maui. As she watches helplessly, Tamatoa taunts Maui on his hidden insecurities and alludes to a tragic past. As such information was previously unknown to her, Moana is confused by Tamatoa's words. She nevertheless escapes her cell while Tamatoa is distracted. Then, Moana uses some bioluminescent algae to create a false heart of Te Fiti. She lets Tamatoa get it, and she and Maui escape. Maui says they have to go back for the heart, but Moana reveals she covered a rock in the bioluminescent sea floor. It was a fake. Afterward, Maui and Moana escape. Using a geyser, they are shot back to the surface. Back on top, Maui is sincere for once, humbled by the fact that he can't shapeshift. On the canoe, he tells Moana that they have no chance of defeating Te Kā, even with his hook back. Moana asks Maui about something Tamatoa said about wanting to please the humans who rejected him. She notices his tattoo of a woman throwing a baby into the ocean. Maui refuses to talk about it and finally admits he was born human. His parents didn't want him and threw him into the ocean. The gods took pity on him and made him the demigod Maui, giving him his fish hook. Moana realizes that's why he's always been trying to please humans. She tells him that it's not the gods who make him Maui, it's him. With this renewed confidence, Maui tries shapeshifting again, starting small, and this time is able to control his powers. They finally reach Te Fiti, knowing the hardest part is going to be getting past Te Kā. Moana gives Maui the heart and wishes him luck. He shifts into a hawk and flies toward the island, but Te Kā rises up to confront him. Maui is knocked out of the sky once more and retreats to the canoe. Maui urges Moana to turn back for their own safety, but Moana refuses, unwilling to back away after coming so close to accomplishing their goal. She sails them towards Te Fiti and straight into Te Kā's reach. The lava monster strikes down to kill Moana, but Maui intervenes and uses his fishhook to block Te Kā's blow, sending them far back across the ocean. Moana finds Maui brooding over his broken hook. Te Kā's to badly damage its hook by half destroying it. They are forced to retreat. Moana says they have to go back, but Maui gives up and blames Moana for not listening to him and says that one more hit to his hook will destroy it, and he will have no more powers. He wants to quit, but Moana tells him she can't do it alone. He can't believe he was stupid enough to think Moana could be the chosen one. Moana pleads that the ocean chose her, and Maui coldly says it chose wrong. He shapeshifts into a hawk and flies away. Sad and alone, Moana is approached by the ocean. She mournfully confesses to her incompetence and demands that the ocean chooses someone else to restore the heart. The ocean accepts Moana's decision and takes the heart of Te Fiti back into the sea. As Moana breaks down in tears, she is visited by Grandma Tala's spirit ghost, who comforts and apologizes to her granddaughter for placing so much pressure on her. Tala encourages Moana to return home if she wishes to, promising to remain by her side on the journey back. Moana prepares herself to sail home, but finds that she cannot bring herself to actually do so. Unable to understand, Tala encourages Moana to open up to her emotions to understand why she feels hesitant to return home. Moana comes to realize that the everlasting love she holds for her people and the sea is what brought her so far, is what ultimately defines who she is, and explains why she's the one capable of saving the world. Encouraged, Moana dives into the sea and retrieves the heart of Te Fiti. When she resurfaces, Tala is gone, but Moana's determination is now even stronger than ever. The next day, Moana uses her sailing skills to take on Te Kā. She wages battle against her. She tricks Te Kā and speeds past the rocks, using the water to her advantage since Te Kā can't touch it. Te Kā then sends a giant wave her way, knocking her canoe over and is about to hit her with a blast of fire, but Maui appears and defends Moana, giving her enough time to make it to Te Fiti. Moana climbs over the rocks to put the heart of the island back and discovers it's gone. The shape of the goddess gouged beneath the water, all that remains. Turning back, she then notices a spiral symbol on Te Kā's chest and realizes that Te Kā is actually Te Fiti without her heart. She grabs the attention of Te Kā before it's able to deal a blow to Maui, who has by now completely lost his hook. Moana tells the ocean to clear a path for Tika to reach her and goes to meet Tika face to face. Moana tells Tika that this is not truly who she is. Tika's fires go out as she calms down and Moana places the heart back within the spiral on Tika's chest. The lava rock falls away to reveal Te Fiti. The goddess revives the dying islands across the world. The death of the planet is stopped. She returns to her island and takes Moana and Maui in her hand. Maui is apologetic for having taken Te Fiti's heart, and the goddess rewards him with a brand new fish hook and gives Moana a new canoe to sail in. Then, the goddess is finally able to rest. Moana asks Maui to come back with her since her people will need a master wayfinder. But Maui warmly denies, instead of showing Moana a new tattoo on his body inspired by her heroism. The two warmly embrace before Maui shape shifts into a hawk and flies off. Moana sails back to Motunui where the flowers and fruit are blossoming again since the darkness has been defeated. She is reunited with her people and her parents. The ocean gives her a pink seashell which Moana places on the sacred mountain before helping her people take the fleet of boats out to begin voyaging once again. She teaches them to sail and wayfind and revels in her new role with her grandmother's manta ray spirit guiding her and Maui flying beside her. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And I'll see you in the next video.